Pankaj, I think we are okay to start now. Okay.
Yes, Namaste. Yes, let's start, Dhananjay ji. Over to you.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Shall I stop sharing the screen?
Stop the background music. Sorry, just the background music.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Yeah. So, Namaste everybody, Hari Om. And it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this information evening, this webinar, which is being held by Chinmaya Mission. By way of quick introductions, my name is Dhananjay. Myself and Pankaj, we are running this Sanskrit initiative for getting more and more people to learn Sanskrit and basically get onto the GCSE exam as well. We have been in touch with the great organization of Chinmaya Mission, and we have been very fortunate that they are holding this seminar with us today. This webinar, basically, the idea is that they do a lot of work in Sanskrit, and this work is pioneering, especially in UK as well. And we have got some really excellent speakers from them today. And the idea is that by the end of this webinar, we'll get to know what their offerings are and how to enroll on the courses. And this is a mix of Sanskrit courses, but there are some Vedanta courses as well. So I will, without further ado, I will introduce you to Dr. Ramesh Patni. Dr. Patni, just to give a brief background on Dr. Patni, he is a trustee of Chinmaya Mission UK. He has been teaching variety of classes in Advaita Vedanta, Upanishads, and great spiritual texts within Chinmaya Mission for a very long time. He conducts meditation camps regularly. Most importantly, and something that is this thing is of big pride for anybody associated with Chinmaya Mission and Dr. Patni as well, that he has been awarded an OBE and been recognized for all the great services he has been doing. He has a PhD on Yoga Sutra and its relevance to mental health. He has been pioneering number of courses at Oxford University, and he has on various aspects of Hinduism, and he has been leading Chinmaya Academy to offer various courses for general public on Vedanta and other related topics. So, Dr. Patni, may I ask you to start your presentation?
Namaste and Hari Om, everybody. Thank you so much for that introduction. And here I'm going to just give a brief introduction about Chinmaya Mission and then talk a bit about the overall worldwide Chinmaya Mission. And then we were going to talk about what is happening in the UK. So let me just start by talking about Chinmaya Mission, when it was founded, and the inspiration behind really this whole idea of developing a mission which is worldwide based currently with over 300 centers throughout the world. Some of you may know about Chinmaya Mission, of course, but it was founded in 1953 with one aim, is to spread the wisdom of Vedanta to any seeker of any nationality, caste or group, to enrich and enable them to become positive contributors to society.
So, Dr. Patni, may I interrupt you to, if you want to present your, you put up your slides?
So this bit has no slides. I'm going to present the second presentation, which I do after Abhijit ji, that will have the slides. This is just a brief introduction about Chinmaya Mission.
Sure.
Okay. So here the Chinmaya Mission was founded on the principle that there is the wisdom and the knowledge of Vedanta, which is available to any seeker, and gaining that knowledge and the practice of that knowledge makes them to become positive contributors to society. In other words, it's not something which one takes upon one's own, but really becomes an instrument through that knowledge and becoming a contributor to the positive development and a positive contribution in society. And of course, this has been my inspiration as well, is that through my knowledge and learning about Vedanta, it has inspired me to work for the community as well as a society in contributing whatever I can to help the community develop. This was, of course, inspired by Swami Chinmayanand when Chinmaya Mission was formed it really changed the way people thought about spirituality, because spirituality was thought about something as belonging to an ashram, or it was something which was, not for the masses. And what Swami Chinmayanandi, Pujit Gurudev, made available this knowledge to each and every person who was interested in attaining this knowledge. Not only that, but he made the English as the basis of presenting this knowledge in such a simple and beautiful manner that people became inspired. There are now millions of people who are following the teachings of Puja Gurudev. And of course, based on the original Sanskrit manuscripts and the Sanskrit scriptures. And of course, his specialty was the Bhagavad Gita. And if you just read that commentary, it is so inspiring to kind of just know about the concepts there and to understand really how one can bring that into one's own life in such a way that it not only contributes to the inner transformation. And by this means, he actually set millions of people on their personal journey of inner transformation, and leading this clarion call, as it were, this evolutionary message that anybody from any walk of life can awaken in their true consciousness through the study of Vedanta, and of course, Sanskrit being the basis of studying the Vedanta. So from regular classes, which are held in the missions throughout the world, to intellectual seminars, discourses, academic research even, value-based schools, medical projects, rural development, the whole idea here was that the contribution was about giving knowledge, providing service, and having devotion in action. It is a practical methodology which works, which connects the knowledge, which can be very abstract at some time, but bringing it right to the battlefield, as it were. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord brings this guidance right into the battlefield. So Pujya Gurudev brought this to the masses and to say, here's the knowledge, put it into action, and it will transform your life forever. So Chinmaya Mission today, through its numerous centers worldwide, is spreading the knowledge of Vedanta and contributing substantially to the rejuvenation of the India's ancient philosophy, which is such a wonderful knowledge and philosophy, but at the same time, practical philosophy, which anybody can put into practice in their own way, and also actively engaged in social services. And especially there are units within the Chinmaya Mission, just like we have the um, um, the missions activity, which are focused on providing services to the disadvantaged and underprivileged. So thousands have benefited from missions, numerous projects in education, health, village upliftment, environment regeneration. And after Gurudev's Mahasamadhi in 1993, it was the torch was handed over to Swami Tejomanan, and since all this kind of journey which Chinmaya Mission has made in the world, the mission has flourished in leaps and bounds under dynamic vision of Pujya Guruji Swami Tejomanan, and at the moment we have Swami Swarupananji as the head of the worldwide Chinmaya Mission, and all this work which is being done is expanded. And one of the biggest projects which is currently being undertaken is the development of the Chinmaya University. And that I will explain a bit later. Just to understand that the idea is that the motto of Chinmaya Mission is giving maximum happiness to the maximum number of people, maximum time. Here's a connection between Vedantic knowledge and day-to-day life, and how to attain that kind of happiness in each one of our lives. So that is just a brief introduction about Chinmaya Mission, and I'll hand it over back to Dhananjay.
Thank you, Dr. Barney. I think that was a fantastic introduction. Chinmaya Mission itself and the work itself is so huge, both what it has achieved and the lineage that it has. It's very difficult to do any justice within a few minutes. But nevertheless, I think we have to stay on our timetable and focused on it. So what I'll do is I'll introduce to you another scholar who is with us today. He's Dr. Abhijit Mandal. And Dr. Mandal is a PhD, and he is a professor he's a lecturer at the moment, currently at the London Business School. And he is also a Sanskrit teacher. And I have very brief previous interactions with him, and the kind of magic that he has brought out of Sanskrit in the brief conversations I had with him was fantastic. So I can definitely vouch for his depth and his knowledge of Sanskrit. May I request Abhijit ji kindly talk to us about the various Sanskrit classes that Chinmaya Mission provide, and especially the ones that are that we are interested in talking about today. Over to Dr. Abhijit Mandal, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Dhananjay ji. Thank you for the nice things you said about me and my ability to teach Sanskrit. What I would say is that the language itself is so fantastic and so logically developed. It's very different from learning just say another foreign language. The ability which it gives you to express yourself is at another dimension compared to other ordinary languages. In that sense, given my background as an engineer and other things, it is very. So this language has a big appeal for me. Then, as we all know, this language is also the core of the Vedantic and spiritual literature that we have in our country. So the development of spirituality has been such that not just Hinduism, but Jainism and Buddhism have also emphasized Sanskrit as the mode of conveying their literature. So this should give you an idea of how important this language is from the point of view of spirituality. Having said that, once you start studying Vedanta, you begin to realize the importance of getting to know the language directly. At the beginner's level, you can depend upon translations made by somebody else, but soon enough you discover that one translation is not good enough, because the depth of the language is such that almost each important word can be interpreted at least 3 or 4 different levels. And an ordinary translation is not going to do enough justice, because they will choose one of the 3 or 4 potential levels and be done with it. However, if the literature is to appeal to you, if the literature is to make a mark on you and inspire you to go faster on your spiritual journey, for you to draw direct inspiration from the statements that have been made in the literature, you have to be able to interpret the statements in a way that suits you best. And you can do this only if you get into knowing the language yourself. So Ramesh ji will explain this in more detail later on, that yes, initially you can start delving into Vedanta, etc., with translations, but the deeper you get in, the situation changes. So we at Chinmaya Mission London have been teaching Sanskrit here. So bit about my background. I started learning Sanskrit in India, but I was learned it only till class 8. Once I came here and I saw that there were classes going on at Chinmaya Mission in Sanskrit, I actually restarted my learning of the language, and I gave the GCSE exam as well as the one beyond that, which is the at the A level. And I've been teaching myself at the Chinmaya Mission for quite a number of years. My students have also appeared for the GCSE exam, and some of them are now helping other students teaching other students to appear for the GCSE exam. So let's, without further delay, I'll first introduce you to what are the current batches. If you have a sufficient background in Sanskrit, you can think of joining the current batches. If you are a complete beginner, we have an offering for you as well. And then I'll talk about how the Sanskrit courses will relate to what we are offering from Chinmaya Academy as well. I understand that if you have questions, you need to, we will have a question and answer session at the end. So please keep your questions until then. Okay, so we have currently quite a few batches going on. We have currently 5 different classes going on during Saturday and Sunday mornings. So as you see from the screen, we have batches in these 3 years which are already active, 2022, 2023, and 2024. After this slide, I'll be getting into more detail about these batches. And some details about these classes are presented on the slide here. So I'll just read them quickly. So we have classes typically on a Saturday morning, occasionally Sunday mornings. Each class is typically 90 minutes. We have 3 terms, minimum 3 terms in a year in parallel with the academic calendar. And typically expected donations are £50 a term. Okay. So this sheet here, even though it's a bit complicated, summarizes the people who want to appear in GCSE 2023 and 2024. If you start from the top, let's say you're a person who knows this topic here, Devanagari script, sorry. So let's say you know these things, pronunciation, reading, writing, vowel consonants, all these things. You follow this and you can join the orange batch, which we call 2024 batch C. In other words, you can join a class which is preparing for the 2024 IGCSE exam. If you know more than that, let's say you know also about nouns, pronouns, verbs, and adjectives, you can join a slightly different batch, which is also preparing for 2024, but batch B, which will go slightly, which will adjust with the other batch eventually. And if you know even more, which is you can get into other advanced aspects like past participles and passive things, etc. You can join the batch A for 2024. Now, if you have gone beyond all that and you know you can handle dhatus, complementary sentences, noun declensions to some extent, and other details, we have a 2023 batch which is also currently operating, and you can ask to join the 2023 batch. Now, these other things here, what you see in the lower half, from St. James text year 7 to the final, these things haven't yet been covered. So whatever batch you join, you will also be covering these things. And by the time you cover everything that is there on this page, you would have completed the IGCSE syllabus. Typically, if you're starting from scratch, if you're starting right from the beginning, we are saying that we will take 120 weeks to go through the whole syllabus with you and practice question papers. And these 120 weeks can be covered easily in 3 years, sometimes maybe faster in 2.5 years. Okay, so this is for the batches 2023 and batches 2024. Now I will show you what are the requirements for the batch which is going to appear in 2022. Okay, sorry, I have this slide in between. For people who are complete beginners, we are actually starting a completely new batch on April 1st. So this batch, which starts on April 1st, will do a 10-day intensive course on learning the alphabet. And the details are given here. Once the 10-day intensive part is over, it will become a regular weekly class on Saturdays at 12 noon. So this intensive part is only for 10 days. Lessons start 7 p.m. And the main reason why we have daily classes for the first 10 days is because it is important to have this chain of thought of learning when you're learning the alphabet. Okay. So this is the information about the 2022 batch. This is just next year, so we have barely 1 year to appear for the exam. So the requirements for you to join this batch is a bit different. Here are some of the basics that have been laid out here. But apart from these basics, we'd also expect you to know some things at the intermediate level. And I have a list of about 12 bullet points here at the intermediate level. If you are confident that you know these 12 points quite well, I would encourage you to join the 2022 batch. So here are the details for these different batches. If you are interested in the 2023 batch or any of the 2024 batches or this batch which is going to start on April 1, you need to contact Mr. Raj Iyer, and his email address is on the screen right now. If you're interested in the 2022 batch, you need to contact Mr. Mehul Sangvi, and his email is given below. Okay, so now
Abhijit, we can share these slides if they ask for towards the end as well. Whoever contact the email.
Yes.
Yeah, sure, thanks.
Yes. Okay. So now I just want to talk about the other options available. So when you're joining for the Sanskrit course, whatever Sanskrit course you join, whichever batch you join, is by itself going to be standalone. But because you joining the Chinmaya family, we would also like to give you some other options. So one option is that you can follow some other existing courses on Vedantic texts and principles and courses on the Bhagavad Gita. So this is a standalone thing, which is in addition to whatever you do in Sanskrit. In fact, this option one can also be exercised with people who are not directly interested in Sanskrit immediately. They can also exercise this option. Second option that we are proposing is that for the people who join the Sanskrit classes, for them itself, we can organize special courses on Vedanta. So this will not be coinciding with option one, although the material covered may be similar. The classes. The aim is that since you may spend up to 3 years preparing for the GCSE exam, you can also spend your time getting to know more Vedanta step by step. So depending on the amount of people that show an interest, we can organize classes on specific topics, and these topics can be in a graded manner. And at the end of 2 or 3 years, you will end up if we have enough courses for you and take you up in a graded manner, you will also get a certificate from Chinmaya Academy or university about your progress in Vedanta or related topics. So this is something which you can do along with the Sanskrit. Then there is this option 3, which we are planning to start. This option is actually meant for people who are studying Sanskrit or have already studied Sanskrit. It is not for absolute beginners. It is for people who have got some vocabulary, got some practice with Sandhi, and obviously some sense of the various grammatical constructs. So the aim of this course is basically going to be to examine the Sanskrit and the Bhagavad Gita but from a sort of a grammatical lens. If you take up a book on Bhagavad Gita, it will publish the shlokas, it will give you the translation, and then you'll have a commentary. But this commentary is usually from a certain metaphysical point of view, and different people apply different metaphysical lenses. But this course, which we are aiming for, when it gets operational, will be looking more at the grammatical aspect. And to bring this difference across to you, I'm just going to take example shloka and see if I can convey the difference to you. So if you take this shloka here, this is from the first shloka of chapter 4. I've taken something which is available widely on the internet. You have the shloka itself in Sanskrit. You have the Anvaya, which is separating out the words and translating each word individually. And then you put together the whole thing and you have the translation. And as I said, you can have a commentary later on, which is based on some metaphysical angle which you have taken up. But where I would like to see this class go is to actually go a little bit deeper. So for example, if you take this shloka specifically, there are 4 persons involved in this shloka. One is Lord Krishna, second is Vivaswan, then you have Manu, and then you have Ikshvaku. Now, what I want to point out is that these 4 are not just names of persons, but the names are such that if you understand the meaning behind these names, you will see that they are related to the metaphysics being followed by the Gita. So you have, if I go backwards, Ikshvaku is, you can say, chosen speech. Then you have Manu, which is very close to Man. Then you have Vivaswan, which is another word for the sun. And lastly, you have Sri Krishna. So now, so what these 4 indicate are not just 4 different persons, but these are 4 different levels of structure in our metaphysics. So Sri Krishna represents the absolute consciousness. Vivaswan represents the reflected consciousness in human mind. Then you have the ordinary mind, which is the seat of emotions, and then you have the Ikshvaku, which is the chosen speech, which is basically the decision taken by the mind to prepare the organs for action. So, so not only do these represent 4 stages in the human being as to what is the link between the human being and the absolute consciousness, this is also an indication of the general metaphysical structure that is there in any phenomenon going on in the world. So these 4, there may be some, in some places you might use 5 levels, but at a minimum you have to use these 4 levels. When you, in other words, when the human being is doing any activity, this activity is a product of consciousness coming down all these levels. Now, this is not the only place where the Gita indicates these 4 levels. There are other places where it indicates such things, but again, this is done not directly but indirectly. So another thing which I would like to point out in these kind of classes is, if you look at the prefixes that we have given to the verbs. So in the first level, Krishna says Proktavan. So you have the normal verb Uktvan, and to that you have a prefix. And then not only that, they've used 4th case. Normally when you use this verb of speech, you use the 2nd case. But in this case, this situation, they've used 4th case. So there is a nuanced difference. Similarly, you have 3 different verbs they have used for this transmission. Krishna uses Proktavan, Then he says manave praha, which is using the verb aha, and then you have abravit. So notice that the pra is gone, it's not there anymore, and it ends at bravit. So there are different nuances among these three verbs, which again give you an indication as to the nature of functioning of these four different things. So I won't be getting into all those details, but I hope I've given you a flavor of how, if you look at it grammatically, you can see what the language itself is saying before you get into any kind of metaphysics. Okay, going up. So all I want to emphasize is that I presented three options apart from the Sanskrit batches, and these options are independent of each other. They can be followed simultaneously. So you can choose to join any of the batches and do any of these options or all of these options. It's up to you. Okay, so as we said before that we are going to share these details with you later on, and just to remind you that we have a 2022 batch. We are starting a brand new batch for 2024 right from the alphabets, and we have other existing batches for people who already know something and want to join 2023 batch or even another 2024 batch. So that's all from me, and I'll be answering your questions later on. And now I pass it back to Dhananjay.
Thank you, Dr. Abhijit. Can I
Just to
request
add,
you?
sorry to interrupt here. Abhijit, if you can bring that slide with the email, and we can ask all the participants to take a screenshot of this so that they have a record and email back to you in case they have any other queries, because the participants' contact details are not with us, so we won't be able to individually email or post them the slides. But just in case they are interested, they can reach out to any one of the email and the slides and things can be shared. Is that okay? Thank you. Back to you, Dhananjay ji.
Yeah, thank you, Pankaj. That's exactly what I was about to say. If Abhijit ji can also type in these email addresses or copy paste them in the chat, because not everybody knows how to take the screenshot sometimes.
Yeah,
So
that
if
would be
you can
great.
type, yeah,
Okay,
copy
I'll
paste.
paste them, not a problem.
Yeah, and just to remind everybody, the date for starting this is the 1st of April, isn't it? So
Yeah, the new course which is starting for complete beginners is 1st of April.
correct. So which means people have to hurry up. Now it's only 4 days to go before the courses start, if I'm not wrong. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Abhijit, for that one. I'll wait for the emails to be typed in. I think you're already doing it.
Okay.
May I now re-invite Dr. Patni again to talk about the Chinmaya Academy and how it can integrate with Sanskrit. Just conscious of the time, we are on time for most of the time. So 15 minutes, I think. And after that, we will take question answers. So over to Dr. Patni.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Abhijit, for that presentation. So what I just want to briefly talk about is the Chinmaya Mission UK. And Abhijit has spoken about this side of the Sanskrit, which is taught independently as one of the wings of Chinmaya Mission UK. So we got several wings of Chinmaya Mission UK, which are involved in various different activities. So we got Bal Vihar, which is teaching children from the age of 1 year. We got Shishu Vihar, and we got right up to Vanaprastha, who are 55 plus. So there is a whole age range which are being taught different things according to what they require. In fact, we have started 2 years ago teaching children the basics of Sanskrit as well. So that is an amazing thing which is happening at the moment in Chinmaya Mission. So Chinmaya Mission in terms of teaching and learning Sanskrit, there are two parts to it. One is that, the regular classes which Abhijit has been talking about, which have been going on for several years now. And we have got a huge number of people who have gone through these batches and attained good proficiency in Sanskrit. They've also obtained the qualification, GCSE, etc. So it has been going very well. Now, this other part which I'm going to talk about is the Chinmaya Academy. And just to kind of give you a brief connection of Chinmaya Mission UK to Chinmaya Academy and what was the kind of inspiration behind it. So Chinmaya Mission, as I described earlier on, UK is part of the global Chinmaya Mission, and we've got our own resident teacher here, Brahmacharini Shripriya Chaitanya, and there are many, many classes going on at the moment, both Vedantic and Sanskrit, which many people are attending. So we got more than 36 classes currently going on. Every week there is a class which is going on, and all over the world, 300 centers worldwide are providing these classes for anybody who is interested in, right from the age of 1 right up to the age of 55 plus. So many institutions and many organizations within the Chinmaya mission itself. We've got the Chinmaya University, which was just started 3.5 years ago, Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapit. And this has now become a very interesting development in terms of university education. Why? Because it is bringing together the ancient Indic knowledge, and particularly with regard to Sanskrit as well. Sanskrit is one of the main things which is being taught, and becomes the foundation of any of the courses which you do, any of the degrees which you do, so that it brings in the idea that if you learn Sanskrit in the way in which Abhijit was, for example, describing, that you can take one shloka, and if you read into that shloka with the proper understanding of Sanskrit, you can take that ancient knowledge and bring it into contemporary usage. So, for example, I studied the Yoga Sutra and Sanskrit in the original Sanskrit Bhashya, and then to kind of understand how Patanjali talks about the mind, what is the model of the mind which is there, and how it can be applied to modern day anxieties and depression. So you can see Sanskrit becomes the core kind of knowledge which is going to support not only the understanding of the ancient knowledge, but then to be able to translate it in terms of contemporary knowledge, and to provide a basis for transforming the knowledge base itself in terms of what we have in all aspects of our life. So Chinmaya University has got this unique kind of approach, which is which is already taken off in a fantastic way. We have got the Chinmaya International Foundation, which has been there for many years, and it is a foundation which is now teaching many courses which anybody from the world can join. And we have also got the Chinmaya Institute of Management, we got the Institute of Technology, and many other institutions which are related to Chinmaya Mission. And all of this have got a common thread: Vedanta and Sanskrit. And this becomes the basis on which Sanskrit becomes so important in terms of understanding some of this knowledge, which is absolutely useful in terms of our contemporary life. Now, Chinmaya Academy has been in the process of being set up over the last 1.5 years. And the vision of this academy, which is now part and parcel of Chinmaya Mission UK, is the current project of Chinmaya Mission UK to establish this academy, which has already been established. And it was launched on, the first course was launched on Makar Sankranti this year. And the vision is that it is going to become a world center of excellence in terms of learning, teaching, and research in Advaita Vedanta and the Indian knowledge systems. In other words, that it is based on Chinmaya University and the Chinmaya International Foundation, and it is an extension of what we are going to provide, some which is kind of brought in from university and the foundation, but at the same time, we are going to be developing our own courses, including Sanskrit. And the mission is to provide high quality learning and research facilities for all to have an interest in the tradition of Advaita Vedanta and the Indian knowledge systems. So again, to create opportunities for UK international scholars for carrying out research and teaching of Advaita Vedanta. So in other words, for example, if you go through this process of learning Sanskrit and then you go on to do higher Sanskrit, which is also available from Chinmaya University, and then you come back and say, I want to do some research in the UK relating to a certain script which I'm interested in. This is now the opportunity which you can join up with Chinmaya Academy and say, I've got something to offer because I've learned Sanskrit. I can now analyze and read into and interpret some of the ancient texts to bring it to the modern contemporary context. So creating opportunities, again, is one of the things which we have in our mind. And Chinmaya Academy, we want to make it a major international teaching and research institution, again, focusing on Advaita Vedanta, bringing teachers, researchers, students together in the creative endeavor of teaching and learning, not only Sanskrit, but also Advaita Vedanta. And Chinmaya Academy is going to be actively engaged in working with collaboration with Chinmaya International Foundation and University, just as I mentioned. And some of the courses are taught at these institutions will be offered at Chinmaya Academy together with other courses tailored to the local needs in the UK. So for example, we are going to be creating courses which are relevant to the UK society and the UK communities in the context of teaching Vedanta and Sanskrit as well. So actually, the idea here is that we want to establish a Chinmaya University campus in the UK. And that really becomes very exciting because then we have got a kind of Hindu university campus right in the UK. And that becomes a kind of creative ground for bringing all this knowledge, learning Sanskrit, teaching Sanskrit, and to take it right up to the degree level, which is going to be very exciting. And we have already established an academic board. Abhijit is also part of the board, and we've got various scholars in different fields of scholarship in the UK, professors and doctors and researchers who are part and parcel of this academic board and from UK. And also we are planning to have other people coming from abroad. And the strategy is for development of teaching resources for and research in Advaita Vedanta, both Sanskrit textual, in other words, that you take any manuscript which is related to Advaita Vedanta or Vedanta in general, and then you kind of use your knowledge of Sanskrit and to do research in that. But at the same time, we don't want to miss out the spiritual, experiential part of it, which is also going to be a part and parcel of the teaching and learning. And to create a network of scholars worldwide, as well as other universities and research institutions, even in the UK. So for example, we are looking for, at the moment, as an intermediate strategy to kind of consider having certification and accreditation done by local universities of the courses which we are going to offer. In other words, that, these are courses which are accredited by local universities, and you can show that to anybody in the UK, even if you're looking for employment, that becomes part and parcel of your CV. So again, something which is very exciting. And teaching programs, including residential, online, for courses, workshops, seminars in Advaita Vedanta, which is part and parcel of the Chinmaya Academy project. And it is also going to be a center of study of Sanskrit as a language of research on primary text and manuscripts of Vedanta. So this is what I've been saying, is that Sanskrit and the study of Sanskrit as a language becomes really the language of research into the text, into the manuscripts, so that we can bring out the more the deeper meaning, just like Abhijit was mentioning about how you can take just one verse of the Bhagavad Gita, and if you look at it through the grammar and the language of Sanskrit as a language, then it unfolds itself into such a fantastic interpretation that if you read that just as a verse, another verse in Bhagavad Gita, it creates so many different dimensions of understanding just one verse, and to see the metaphysical kind of principles which can be unpacked, as it were, in each and every verse of the Bhagavad Gita. And also to create a kind of resource center for public knowledge of Indian knowledge system in general, and of course Advaita Vedanta in particular, because this is what Chinmaya Mission is all about. So courses on offer at the moment. We've got Foundation Vedanta, which has just started, as I was saying, on Makar Sankranti this year. And we have already got a batch of students who have started this. And there is the 24-week course, which is going to be finishing sometimes later on this year. And another batch is going to be starting. So if you're interested in studying Vedanta, besides what Abhijit was mentioning, is that, you know, these two things run in parallel, that learning Vedanta, learning Sanskrit kind of enhance each other. So learning Vedanta will allow you to understand Vedanta because you know Sanskrit, and because you know Sanskrit, Vedanta becomes much more of a powerful knowledge for you to understand and to imbibe in your own lives. So Foundation Vedanta is the easy Sanskrit course, which is certified by the Chinmaya International Foundation. This can be taken as an alternative to GCSE, and that certification can come through doing this easy Sanskrit course, which is going to be launched this year as well. And then we got the Bhagavad Gita course. Again, Sanskrit comes into it very much just like Avijit was talking about. And it is a course which I recommend everybody to take. Why? Because it is practical knowledge, it is deep philosophical knowledge, it is metaphysical knowledge which can be brought into our transactional life, just like Lord Krishna is bringing that knowledge to Arjuna right in the middle of the battlefield. So this knowledge can help us in the middle of our battlefield, which is the battlefield of life. And, you know, Bhagavad Gita is an absolutely wonderful text. It's my favorite, scripture, and I teach it in many different ways. Vedic mathematics. This is another fantastic thing which you can learn through the Chinmaya Academy. It's a whole complete course which even children can take, and their mathematical ability will absolutely flourish because it has got this wonderful kind of systematic way of doing the basic operations of mathematics with the ancient knowledge which has been brought into this kind of context. And this makes anybody to be able to do complicated calculations by knowing the principles of Vedic mathematics. And there are other courses which are very much practically oriented. So for example, Make It Happen is a course for youngsters. And if they're just embarking on their life, you know, having a project in mind, they want to start a business, they want to start a profession, how to make it happen. In other words, that having a pure, noble idea in your mind about your own life, how do you bring it into existence, make it happen, based on the ancient principles of Advaita Vedanta. And this is another wonderful course for people to consider, and it is going to be launched again sometimes later on this year. So this easy Sanskrit course is really something which I just want to talk a bit about. It is a simplified initiation and foundation for beginners. If you don't know anything about Sanskrit, this is the course also to consider. Besides what Abhijit was talking about, of course, but you can consider this as an alternative, just in case you want to kind of go into a slightly different direction or to have a different content in a course. Of course, it is going to deal with the foundation for beginners, and it is a start of the journey into the world of Sanskrit. So it is worth considering. And it has been designed in a manner that anybody, regardless of your mother tongue and age, even youngsters have taken this one. 8-year, 10-year, 12-year-old children have taken this course, and they've gone through it and mastered the basics of Sanskrit language. So the website, which if you want to go to, is chinmayaacademy.org. It is listing all the different courses. It is also giving introduction to the various different courses which are available at the moment, and also which are going to be available in the future. So that is what I wanted to say about Chinmaya Academy. So back to you, Dhananjay.
Thank you, Dr. Patni. For some reason, I'm getting a feeling that this is like the olden days, Gurukula is being established. and the Guru is speaking, and there is a lot of knowledge coming through.
I share the
Uh,
same feeling. Thank you.
and it's absolutely wonderful, the way the Indic knowledge is
Yes,
being in focus. I think that is the need of the hour for the whole world, because there
absolutely.
is so much of peace, there is so much of well-being for everybody rooted in that. It's unfortunate that past few centuries we have kind of moved away from that. But
That's right. Yes.
thank you for all the initiative and all the effort that the great organization is taking. I'm sure Guruji's blessings is with all of us here today. There are quite a few questions. I have to stick to the agenda. I'm just worried that if we just if I call ever Dr. Patni, I'll be speaking with him for like an hour or so, just listening to him. There is so much of madhuri in the rest that is Vani that is coming through. But unfortunately, I have to stick to the agenda today, and there are a lot of questions are coming through. Okay, so let me go to Dr. Patni first. I think you have answered it. There was one question coming from Sudhir Pandeji, and the question was, what is the contact information for the Vedanta courses? And you have given the link, which is chinmayaacademy.org. I put that link. Let me check this spelling. Can you type it, Dr. Padni? Because I'm afraid there are a couple of A's in there. I'm not very clear
Okay,
about
so
that.
it is just Chinmaya and then
Yeah.
academy.org.
Okay, so I think
Okay.
I have made a
So,
small.
and we've got the registrar of Chinmaya Academy here with us, Mr. Kishore Bhai Tanna. And
Yeah.
if you need any information, he's going to be available for you to give any kind of information to you.
Okay.
So, you can also kind of get in touch with him and he'll be able to guide you as to,
Sure.
and how to join
Yeah.
the courses.
Yeah. So Pankaj has just put in the correct link. I'm
That's right.
afraid there is a misspelling mistake in the message that I put. But please look for chinmayaacademy.org. You can go onto the website and all the details will be there. Is there so they have to just fill in the contact form, Dr. Patni? Is that how it works?
Yes, Kishore Bhai, can you just say a few
Or
words about
is it possible to share any email
Email
info at
will be.
anything? If you can type here, it would be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can send us an email, info@chinmayaacademy.org.
Okay, Kishore Bhai is the registrar of the Chinmaya Academy, and he deals with all the registrations and everything. And he has just said that if you want to send an email to Chinmaya Academy, it is info@chinmayaacademy.org.
Okay.
And it's
Right.
also on the website as well.
Website as well. Sure.
Yes.
Thank you, Kishore.
Okay. Sure. So the next question I will go through so it's a question from Rajiv. Is Vedic mathematics course based on the book by Swami Bharti Krishna Tirtha or other Vedic texts too?
No, it is actually developed by the Chinmaya International Foundation, and it is based absolutely on the original principles of Vedic mathematics, but it is a kind of simplified form which then anybody can join. But certainly there are references to that as well.
Okay. Next question is from Satish Kamatji, and I think the question is for Abhijit ji here. Just to clarify, the 1st of April every day is from the 1st of April to the 10th of April, and it is at 7 p.m.
So the
Those timings, correct?
first class is on the 1st of April and the last class is 11th of April. So I'm assuming there's one day break in between, but every day 7 p.m. onwards, the classes will take place.
Okay. Right. Another question is Sumesh ji. When is the course under option 3 starting? Again, question for Abhijit ji.
So the option 3 course is the one where we will look at Bhagavad Gita shlokas from a grammatical lens. I will wait until we have enough students who have the sufficient background in Sanskrit. So definitely not earlier than September of this year, but it will be driven by the number of students who are really interested in this material.
Okay. Question coming in from Dr. Lakshminarayan Gudur. When are the 2022 classes starting?
So the 2022 batch has already started. People have been learning Sanskrit in our ongoing classes, and they are preparing for the 2022 exam. So if you want to join this batch, there are certain prerequisites. If you think you meet those prerequisites, you're welcome to write to Mr. Mehul Sangvi, whose email address I've put up, and he will let you into the batch, and then you can join this batch and appear in the 2022 exam.
Okay.
But it's an ongoing batch. It's not a new batch.
Okay. Question from Kishan ji. Are these courses all online, including Dr. Patni's courses as well? I believe all these courses are online. Correct me if I'm wrong, Abhijit and Dr. Patni.
Yeah, so even if COVID were to vanish today, we would still be online for the next 18 months or so.
Yeah, and the Foundation Vedanta course is also online, and all the material is given online. There is interaction online. There is a forum for discussion, and there are assignments which are set for people to do, and so on and so on. It is all done online, so anybody can join from any part of UK. And we are having monthly plenary sessions whereby the month's work is discussed. And then there is a question answer. If anybody wants clarification about some of the concepts, that is done online as well. So that is the modality of teaching there.
And the content is available for them to go back and study again.
Yes.
Yeah. And so usually if I miss a class, I can still go back and look at the recording.
That's right.
There are a couple of other questions. Pratibha ji has a question about complete beginners. I think there are two courses which we spoke about, one from Dr. Patni and one from Abhijit ji. Complete beginners who want to learn Sanskrit, what are the steps to be taken?
So yes, there are two courses. The one which I was talking about, which will be conducted by Mr. Raj Iyer, is basically with the aim of ultimately sitting in the GCSE exam. I just want to point out that until recently, our mission was a little bit different. In the past, we catered to people who just wanted to learn Sanskrit to get to know the scriptures better, and we will continue with this objective as well. But given the importance of keeping the GCSE exams alive, we are going to put a little bit more emphasis on incoming batches. That if you want to join us immediately with the focus of appearing in the GCSE, yes, you are welcome, and we will provide you a means to do it. But historically, what we have been cultivating the interest in Sanskrit to students, and when they have been ready to, when they have developed an appreciation for the language, then we have said that okay, since you have this amount of interest and since you have these skills, why not consider appearing in the GCSE? But this attitude is going to change slightly now.
Okay.
So
question coming.
Sorry, I haven't finished. The other course being offered for Sanskrit for beginners by Dr. Patni, that is not oriented exclusively towards the GCSE. It's a more general thing, and it would be more oriented towards the syllabus prevalent in Chinmaya University. Whereas the one which Raj Iyer is going to be teaching is going to be more, the aim is to make the students merge with a batch appearing for the GCSE.
Does that mean that a beginner can start the Vedanta beginner course even if he's not very acquainted with Devanagari scripts and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, there is the Foundation Vedanta course requires only a minimum amount of, familiarity with Sanskrit. Most of the terms, we use the Sanskrit words in the course itself, but they are fully explained. So that, you don't need to kind of go into another, like Abhijit was saying, there are 4 levels of kind of understanding, and interpretation, but you just need to be at the first level in order to understand, because it's still a Foundation Vedanta course, and anybody can join.
Sure, that helps.
Okay. There is a question coming from Anand Venkatraman. The question is about, is there any age limit? So he has got 2 children, age 9 and age 13. And can they join in the same batch? And specifically for, he's looking for his children to do the GCS at some point in time. So is there any age limit, and can they join, and what can they join together, age 9, age 13?
As much as I'm aware, there is no age limit, but this can be clarified even better by the person who's actually going to be doing the teaching, which is Mr. Raj Iyer.
Yeah, so I'm on, yes, and yes, we can accommodate both age 9 and age 13 in the same batch, not a problem.
That's great news.
Hari Om.
Okay.
Can I add something to my question? This is Anand here.
Yes, Anand.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so I mean, both of my children, I have been introducing Sanskrit because I have learned to a particular level from Samskrita Bharati through their free courses in India. So I have introduced the alphabet. So they are okay with the alphabet, but I think it's the next level, because I know there is a lot of material available, but always said it's always good to have like a teacher or a mentor who can take them through the steps gradually. That's what I found useful for myself. So that's what I wanted to find out about, because my son, he's in year like he will go into year 9 in September. So I'm encouraging him, as I wrote, for GCSE, IGCSE, but I think it's going to be 2024 or 23. I'm not very sure. But my daughter is still young, but she's got a very good, grasp already of the alphabet. That's why I'm, pushing her, so that quicker they learn, I think it's better, all the more better, that is the main aim.
So Anand, they can after the crash course for Devnagari, there is a new batch for basic grammar that will
Okay.
start on the 18th of April.
Okay.
So they can join the April 18th batch, which will be continuation of the people who have already done the basic course between the 1st of April and the 11th of April.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any upper age limit? Over 55s, can they join as well? That's another question.
There is no upper age limit.
There's no upper age limit. Okay. Another question coming in from Pratibhaji again. Is there any course appropriate for yoga teachers? And is there any course if somebody wants to understand the Bhagavad Gita even better? I think a couple of courses are on Bhagavad Gita as well. Is there anything for yoga practitioners as well?
Yes, in fact, the Bhagavad Gita course is very good for yoga teachers as well. And we are planning to do a course on the Yoga Sutra itself, which is my specialty. And I've been teaching Yoga Sutra in the Chinmaya mission for some time as well. So if anybody is interested, can get in touch with me. I will direct them to the right course.
Okay, thank you.
So we can get in touch with you, Dr. Patni, via the Chinmaya Academy website? Or is
That's
there
right.
any...
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
There are a couple of other questions about can we get the slides? Number of people want the slides and also the recordings. So I don't know, Vijay, how do we...
We can discuss this later. Obviously, we understand that the more people who get access to this recording, the better it is for all of us.
Okay.
If we can drop a request to info@Chinmaya Mission, I think that should be enough, Abhijit, Dr. Abhijit.
Yeah, so we put up this thing called info@chinmayaacademy.org. You can have info@chinmayauk.org, and as we said, we'll discuss how and when to put this whole transmission up later on.
Sure.
Okay, but is there an email ID that they can write to just to get the slides in the first instance? Info@Chinmaya Academy, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, can you just type it in, Abhijit, so that that will be one point of contact in case for the slides and for the slides and recording. Chinmayaacademy.org. info@chinmayaacademy.org. Okay. I think I have gone through number of questions. There is a question coming from Vimiji, and I think it's a great opportunity to ask this question to Dr. Patni. Can you please explain the difference between Vedanta and the Upanishad? I know it's a generic question, not on the focus, You can just give it 1 minute on that one.
Okay, I can give you 1 hour or 1 year of lessons, but basically, if we think about the original Vedas, they are divided into the sections which indicate the kind of focus which is there. And the end portion of the Vedas, as it were, is the knowledge section. If you take the knowledge section, then those are really the Upanishads which are derived from the Vedic text. So Vedanta has got two meanings. It is the end of the Vedas, okay, and also it means the highest knowledge. So when we talk about Vedanta, we are talking about a certain knowledge which is described, which is kind of appropriate or extracted from the original scriptures, the Vedas, and that represents the highest metaphysical knowledge. In other words, what does Vedanta talk about? Vedanta is about self-knowledge and the highest knowledge. What do the Upanishads talk about? They talk about the self-knowledge, they talk about the highest knowledge. In other words, there is an equivalency between the Upanishads and the core principles of Vedanta. If you look at the word Upanishad, one meaning is that at the feet of the master. And what you get at the feast of the master is the highest knowledge. And therefore, the highest knowledge in terms of Vedanta, derived as the basis from the original Vedic scriptures, and the highest knowledge which is derived sitting at the feet of the master. So in other words, that we can say Vedanta and Upanishads, we can put them in the same basket, as it were.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Patni, for the answer. Question coming from J. Rao. When does the Easy Sanskrit course start?
Okay, can I hand over to Kishore Bhai, who will explain when it is starting?
There you go. We are in the early stages of that particular course. I've got to get the information from Chinmaya because it's part of the Chinmaya International Foundation course. So I'm in the early stages of planning. I'm talking to them, and hopefully we will have something very soon. I just need to get. They're also revamping their course, so it's going to take a little while, but it shouldn't be that long. I can keep you if make you aware of it.
Yeah.
I think hopefully we are hoping to start towards the end of the year,
Yeah.
but I think that is a kind of realistic kind of time in which we are going to start the foundation. I mean the Easy Sanskrit course.
Okay. One question I had was, if you do the 10-day intensive course, can we skip the first part of the timeline? That was from Kishanji. I think that is for Abhijitji's.
Yeah, so Raj can answer this question. Raj, are you here?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I didn't catch the question.
The question is, if you do the 10-day intensive course, can we skip the first part of the timeline?
Yes, you can. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. There are a couple of other questions, I think.
You can ask them to put up their hand and ask the question, not a problem.
Yeah. Any other questions coming in?
I have another question.
Yes, Anu.
I was wondering whether is there any course that I could join, because I have got some level of understanding of Sanskrit, and because I have been doing regular classes, but of late, because of the timings, because they are conducted in India, and now the timings are changing. From weekend the timings are going to change, so everything is clashing with my office timings. All this time I was managing, because it was early morning, like 7 o'clock or something. I was able to somehow, squeeze in some time, purely because I want to learn the language. But of late, it's becoming difficult. So I have actually come out of that course because I couldn't continue. And I was on Pratyaya. We were learning Pratyaya and Avyayas, and we were going to start Sandhi. So to some extent I know the most of the vibhaktis and all, but I've gone through most of the course. But again, Sandhi and some parts I'm still not familiar with. Plus, I'm also looking at some way of revising, being in touch, because again, it's just the more you learn it and the more you speak it, the better you are get at the language. So that is also something I'm looking for. So I don't know which course out of these will, suit me. Uh, so I'm not, that's why, even I want to, whether it's worth just joining along with my children, I'm happy to do that for the IGCSE. That might give me a good base
Mhm.
to continue.
So, if I may say so, you said that you're not quite familiar with Sandhi.
Yes.
Okay, so in that case, I'll ask you to write to Mr. Raj Iyer, and he can find the appropriate level for you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
One question coming from Kishan ji. What time does the intensive course finish after 7 p.m.? 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. is it?
It is for 1 hour, so 7 to 8.
For one. Okay. There are a couple of other generic questions, I think, which will be bigger discussions, but sticking to the agenda here. Is Sanskrit taught with any linguistic departments of UK universities? Is a generic question.
So, sorry, can you repeat that question again, please?
Question from Dilip ji. A general question is Sanskrit taught within linguistic departments of UK universities?
Yeah, there are a couple of universities which teach Sanskrit, but they are not teaching it as part of linguistics. They're teaching it as part of South Asian culture.
Okay.
South Asian. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I think we have
So
gone
time check.
15 minutes
Yeah.
over
Just checking.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, from a time check, I think we can. If we don't have any further questions, then we can conclude the session. Pankaj, do you want to give a vote of thanks?
Thank you so much. And thanks, Dhananjay ji, for coordinating this so well. And I would like to especially thank Dr. Ramesh Patni ji, Abhijit ji, and all the team here, and Kishore ji as well, to come forward and give us this tremendous explanation and overview of what Chinmaya Academy is doing. And I'm sure many have benefited from them. And please contact as the details given. We would try to get in touch back to you to give the presentation and information as required. So thanks again to everyone, and all the best in Sanskrit learning.
Yes.
Hari Om.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you
There
very
are a
much.
couple of
Thank you.
Thank
there are
you
a
so
couple
much.
of discussion points
Thank you.
in here as to how to preserve this great knowledge and how to hand it over. And one of the questions, I think it's a long question coming from Mahendra ji, which I couldn't discuss unfortunately, but how do we make sure that it's all rediscovered, regained? And one answer I would just say is log on, get onto these courses, get onto these beautiful courses being put over by Chinmaya Academy, and we would have done our bit as a generation. I think this is something, is responsibility of our generation to conserve this culture and hand it over and learn it ourselves. So thank you so much. I'm just going to write in my email ID. Pankaj, you also do your email ID there so that
Sure.
we can get any questions. We can definitely redirect because we have not recorded the names and the email address of the people who have joined the Zoom. But I'll just put in my email ID here in case you want to get in touch. Please do. And Pankaj, if you can put in your email ID as well.
I have.
Pankaj has put in already. Okay. So thank you, everybody. I will close the session. And thank you, Ramesh ji. Thank you, Abhijit ji, Kishore ji, Pankaj ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's already a demand for a second session, by the way. I have got so many
There
requests
is
right
already a
now.
demand for second session.
If you want a session on Vedanta and Sanskrit, we are very happy to conduct with
I
Abhijit.
will. So there's already a request that they want to participants more than 30 to give this introduction again so that we can bring more people. So I will
Sure.
let you know
Yeah.
and
Yes.
arrange this again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Okay,
Thank you.
fine.
Hari Om.
Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank
Bye.
you.
Hari Om.